What's up, friends? Welcome back. We are live, I hope. Haven't done this in a while. So this is kind of random, but I wanted to do this because it's been a minute since we've done a live stream. I enjoy live streams. It's a good way to sort of interact with the viewers out there, do some Q&A, answer some questions, hopefully provide some entertainment. And also, selfishly, this is sort of a test of my new little podcast studio space over here. For the past couple of days, I've been obsessing over my studio office layout up here, and I think I finally perfected it. I do need some more background decorations back here. But the problem was, originally, this room was just like one big open space. If you watch any of my, review videos on YouTube, you'll notice the background is all just a big open room. And the problem with that is if the room is messy or I have my podcast set up, I got to clean it all up before I hit record. So this is a way where I have a dedicated space for the podcast and for live streams where I don't have to break this down. I can just come, hit record, hit go live, and be here with you guys. So hopefully that means there'll be more content coming soon. So today I thought we'd just do a quick Q&A. I've got a bunch of toys with me here. I've got of course, I've got my coffee back here. You can see that on camera. But I've got the Apple Watch. I've got the Amazfit T-Rex 3 here. I've got some Garmin's. And of course, we'll talk about anything else that you want to talk about, including running, ultramarathons, hiking, being outdoors, whatever. And I've also got some toys here as well. I got this. I don't know if I'm even going to review this thing. This is the new Hover Air X1 Pro Max drone. Pretty excited about this. For the type of content I do, this is pretty amazing. And haven't gotten around to doing a review on that yet. I've also got the CMF products here. This is the Nothing Watch, or not the Nothing Watch, the Watch Pro 2, the Buds Pro 2. Haven't even gotten these out of the box yet. Maybe I'll unbox them on this live stream here. And we've got some other goodies as well. Before we get into it though, like I said, I have a podcast as well as this main YouTube channel. And if you haven't yet, head over to the podcast channel. It's called the Chase the Summit Trail Talk Podcast, and hit subscribe over there as well, because I'm trying to grow that channel too, where it's more long form, more like this. But this is for you guys today. We've got a bunch of people in the chat. If you haven't yet, head over to the chat. Tell me where you're commenting from, where you're watching from, how this looks and sounds. Hopefully it looks and sounds okay, because I've been working feverishly at it. Also, fun fact, before I get into the comments here, if you look closely at my forehead, this is a fun story. So my forehead here, I've got a cut. Let me try to get in the light for you. I've got a nice little cut and bruise right here between my eyes, which is awesome. My moneymaker that I have to put in front of the camera. And last night, I was setting up a Halloween animatronic on my front porch with my kids. And this animatronic, it's from like Spirit Halloween. I'm sure people in the USA know what that is. But the Spirit Halloween animatronic called Emmeline, I think. It's like a big scary witch woman thing. It lunges forward at you. It's got these like arms and a scary face, and it lunges at you. And I was testing it out with my kids last night, and I thought I'd make sure it was safe for kids to be near, because it kind of jumps at you. And this thing hit me in the head so hard, I got nearly knocked out by a Halloween animatronic last night. So yeah, that's off topic, but I thought I'd mention that if anyone noticed that cut on my forehead. All right, we've got a bunch of people in the chat here. We gotta start going through this chat. Thanks for everyone commenting. First up, we got Clay Thrower. Let's move that comment around a little bit. Is that a good spot? Clay Thrower. Do you have a Fenix 8 Solar, and will you be doing a review or a video on it? So I do not. That's the one Fenix 8 variant I do not have. I've got the Fenix 8 I'm wearing right now. This is the AMOLED version. I've got the Enduro 3, and I've got the Fenix E. I do not, however, have the Solar Fenix 8. I will say, though, I have the Enduro 3, and it basically is, the Enduro 3 is basically a Fenix 8 with an MIP solar display. So if you want to learn about that, I would watch that video. Now, the only thing that won't apply in that video is going to be the battery specs, battery claims, solar, all that capabilities, because they're different. The Enduro has more battery life, but largely it's like the same watch, just branded differently. So go watch that video. It's a great watch. I really like the Enduro 3. It's one of my favorites for sure. Okay, next up, we've got Eric Maureen. Have you tested out the new Trail VO2 Max calculation on the Enduro 3? How does it differ from standard VO2 Max? Interesting. Honestly, I was unaware. I was unaware that they changed the VO2 Max calculation on the Enduro 3. I don't think no one explained that to me from Garmin, and I had a conversation about like all the new things. Oddly though, I can give you this anecdotal data. I could probably show you this on camera actually. Let me bring up my trusty, oh, it's a weird angle. Let me bring up my camera here. So if I go down to my training here on my Fenix 8, and then I go to VO2 Max, you can see there, it says 54. Now, interestingly, this number was 57 back in July. That's only 2 months ago. And VO2 Max doesn't change that quickly. And back in July, I ran a 100-mile ultra marathon called the Vermont 100. If you haven't seen that video, go check it out. But this said 57 on that day. And then after that race, this declined rapidly. This dropped down to 54. It's now starting to trend back up again. But I thought that was kind of strange because honestly, my training hasn't really changed much and nothing really changed at all except for running 100 miles. And yes, that does affect your VO2 Max. You know, immediately after the race, you're wrecked, obviously. So I wasn't surprised to see it drop, but it was weird that it dropped so much. And maybe that has something to do with your comment here. Not totally sure. Next, JPD, any bigger adventures coming up that you can vlog for us? Oh man, I have so many want to do plans. The tricky thing is this time of year is really tough for work. I put that in quotes because it's kind of a silly job, but here on YouTube, lately it's been bananas. I think I put out 18 videos in September, something like that. Absurdly busy. So I haven't really had a lot of time to like go to the mountains or spend time, you know, on the trails, ironically, because that's what my channel's all about. But I do have a lot of plans. Stay tuned. Coming soon to a theater near you. Next up, we've got Dumiak, 400 975 in 2024. Maybe your guess is as good as mine, to be honest. So the 400 965 that came out in, was it 22? Was it May of 22? No, it must have been 2023. Yeah, so their release schedule is typically like a year and a half to 2 years for their higher end models, like the 400 965, 975. I would guess, yeah, maybe spring of 25. I would guess something like that. My only wish list for that is going to be to put the built-in flashlight from the Fenix models like that. I love this thing. I use this all the time. I counted yesterday how many times I use this, and it was like 25 times throughout the day. You know, finding my kids' toys under the couch, or you know, finding my keys in the car, whatever. I use it all the time. So hopefully they put the built-in flashlight on the 975. That would be awesome. But it's not there yet. Again, I don't know anything. That's pure speculation. I'm just assuming that, you know, the release schedule for Garmin is typically with the Forerunner series. They wait till, I think it's National Running Day, and that's sometime in May. And that's when, for the past two releases, that's when they've launched new devices. So you can kind of guess that they're going to do something in that time frame. Hello from Berlin. Ooh, cool. Are you near all the marathon business out there? Looks like a fun adventure. Hello from UK. Hello, thanks for joining. Hello, Dave. Thanks for joining. Ooh, a lot of comments. I got to catch up. Howdy, Dave. Beard's looking strong, man. Yeah, that's just me being lazy. I actually have to trim down. Thankfully, I've got a new channel sponsor with Manscaped, and they sent me a bunch of like trimmers and stuff. So it's been really useful for keeping myself looking okay for the camera. Please review that drone. I will. So the tricky thing is, I'm not even going to explain it. So I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole in this live stream. Suunto Race S or Amazfit T-Rex 3, Dave? Oh, man. So I don't know if you've seen my videos about the Amazfit T-Rex 3, but this watch is of much controversy and debate. I posted an overly positive review about this watch, and I really like it. I do like it at its price point. For the money, this watch is amazing. But I think a lot of people, maybe I was a little misleading in that first video. The title was like Garmin Fenix Killer or something like that. I should not have done that. And I've since changed that title to be less clickbaity. But a lot of people were like, wow, this $280 watch just destroyed Garmin. Garmin's obsolete now. That's not really the case here. There's still a lot of differences between the T-Rex 3 and a Garmin. But when you're comparing it to the Suunto Race S, that's where things get a lot more complicated because similar price point. I would say, $350 for the Suunto Race S. And then you've got $280 US for the T-Rex 3 here. They're close in price. I will say the Race S has some of the best GPS and GPS accuracy of any watch I've ever tested. Suunto's doing a great job with their GPS accuracy. Like the Race, the Vertical, the Race S, they all perform exceptionally well when it comes to GPS. The heart rate sensor historically was not very good, but they fixed that on the Race S. And the app experience has gotten better over time. So I'd say I'd probably trust the health and wellness data a little bit more on the Suunto than the T-Rex. And that's kind of my main gripe with the T-Rex 3 here. It's that the sleep and recovery and the readiness score, they're all a little bit wonky. Like they all don't totally make sense. For example, I can drink a few beers and sleep for like 2 hours, and that's a bad night of sleep. Like by definition, doing all those things is a bad night of sleep. And when I wake up, the T-Rex 3 will probably tell me my sleep was okay and my readiness is like 80. It's just a little bit too generous, I feel like, as compared to the other, like Garmin feels a lot more accurate when it comes to like the wellness and body battery and all that. And even Suunto with its body resources and all that feels a little bit more accurate. But for the money, the T-Rex 3 is great. I mean, it's got that super smooth interface, and I don't know. It's really up to you. If you value the health and wellness stuff, I'd lean towards Suunto. If you don't care so much about that stuff, you want a good interface, lots of apps to choose from, and a more, smartwatch experience with the microphone built in, some of the AI bits, T-Rex 3 might be a good move. Hope that helps. Okay. Oh, super chat from JPD. Wow. Thank you so much. That's very generous of you. Love your work, Dave. Grab a good coffee on me. Thank you. I actually have a coffee here. Check out this this is a mug my kid gave me a couple of years ago. Best dad forever. I use it pretty much every day. Except it's very dangerous to have this coffee in this room with all of these. Almost did that live. Imagine if I just dumped my coffee on my laptop live. That'd be fun. Thank you for the super chat. I really appreciate that. Seth's New England Trails. Hey, Seth, we've actually run a couple of races together in the mountains. I'll be interested to know what you think of the new X1 Pro Max. Yeah, me too. I've already done some test flights with it. And I tell you what, I have the original Hover X1 somewhere in this room. That drone is so much fun because unlike DJI, I also have a DJI drone. The DJI drones have that active track feature where it's supposed to follow you, whatever you're doing. So for me, running or climbing or something. And it works, but it's not super reliable and it crashes all the time. Like that drone, if you go into the woods with it, you're bound to hit a tree pretty much 100% of the time. The Hover X1 I've brought in the woods, and I was shocked that it could navigate single track trail and weave between trees without smacking into anything. And I suspect the same will be here with this Pro Max version. And the cool thing about the Pro Max, I'll put it up on the screen here. It's actually got a sensor on the back as well. So if you're doing a follow shot, so you see it folds out. If you're doing a follow shot and it's going backwards, it won't crash into anything because it's got this sensor in the back to prevent that. So pretty cool technology. I got to do some more testing on it, but stay tuned. I'll have a full review of that as well. Next comment here. Nora, your Chase the Summit logo on the background wall would look sweet. Yeah, good point. I got to work on that. I was going to put up, I got my play button, the 100,000 subscriber play button thing, but that just feels so like tacky. That's like what every YouTuber does. I don't want to be that guy. So maybe you'll see it back there. I don't know. I'm proud of it. I love that plaque, but having it like front and center would be funny. I was also thinking maybe I should hang my hats back there. By the way, if you haven't bought a hat yet, check out chasethesummit.com and go get a custom hat that I make and I store in the room next door. I'll ship them out immediately. Quick plug. Okay. We got to keep moving here. You guys are talking a lot. It'd be cool back here. Another comment on the logo. It'd be cool back here is maybe one of those neon signs. If I could get that worked out, that'd be fun. We got Miguel from Brazil. Welcome. Thank you for tuning in. Okay, here's a question. We've got Oliver MDK. The black Milanese loop versus natural titanium Milanese loop for Apple Watch Ultra 2, natural titanium edition. Which do you think would look better in your opinion? Good question. So I've actually, if you watched, I unboxed the Milanese loop again in this room somewhere, not in front of me. And I did actually try it on the natural titanium Apple Watch Ultra 2. I would say it looks a little funny. It looks good, but in one situation, so if you flip the watch on the side here, if you look at that, like the little connection point there, the little nubbin, that's the technical term for it. That part is also black on the Milanese loop, and that's where it looks a little weird on this watch. Other than that, like when you're looking straight on at the watch, it looks great having that black band lead into the watch, but on the side, it looks a little funny. So I would say go for the natural titanium version if you have a natural titanium watch. But I do love the look of the black Apple Watch Ultra 2. This thing just looks so cool. One of the best looking smartwatches on the market, in my opinion. And it's funny because it's grown on me quite a bit. I didn't love the original Apple Watch Ultra 2. It has this like weird submarine vibe to it. But over the years, like ever since they launched the Ultra version, it started to grow on me. And the black version is just, it's a darn nice looking watch. I really like it. Just kind of makes it a little bit more modern, more sophisticated, right? That's a good word for it. We got Soul Brother. Hey, I remember you from live stream years ago. Just joined. Hello, everybody. Greetings from Switzerland. Thanks for joining. Cody Cox. I'm from Marion, Ohio. Glad to be able to watch the stream. I'll start with a question. I have a Body Glide and petroleum jelly. Still chafe all the damn time. How do you handle that with your runs? So I apply a lot of it. Oh man, we're already on the topic of lube in this live stream. Yeah. So when it comes to chafing at ultra marathons, it's a topic we must discuss. It is disgusting, yes, but it also sucks to chafe. And it's happened to me a couple of years ago. Actually, last year I ran the Mid-State Massive 100-miler. And a big reason for why I dropped out of that race at the halfway point at mile 50 was due to chafe. It was raining out. It was wet. It got real bad in all the armpit, shoulders, running vest areas, and all the other areas I don't even want to mention. I was bleeding all over the place. I had to call it quits. It was so uncomfortable. I couldn't move. So I feel your pain. Now, as to preventing it, you can only do so much. I find the best thing for me, like a lot of times I'll get chafe like between my legs, like my thighs. And for that, getting a good pair of like longer, like a base layer that can prevent skin on skin contact can help. But even that at a certain point will wear away. You can also try Desitin, like for babies. It's like a gel you put on, babies when you change their diapers. That can help. And if you're finding a product's not working for you, like Body Glide, for example, I used to live on I loved Body Glide. I still do to some degree, but I've actually moved on to Squirrel's nut butter, and that is just a lot thicker and it's easier to apply quickly. So I think that's probably what I'll use moving forward. Not sponsored by any of these companies, by the way. So maybe try a different product. That's all I can help. That's all I can offer Again, I'm not a pro athlete or a doctor or anything, so take that with a grain of salt. We got a Ride Alongside offering to sell his Forerunner 965. If anyone wants to buy it, go contact him. Has Polar fixed the issue with the V3 and Grip Pro X? Do you know what their next product will be? Will they survive? Great question. So this is actually a topic I've talked about privately with some of my other YouTube friends like Matt LeGrand. If you haven't checked out his channel, check it out. And it feels like, I like Polar products. I like the Vantage V3, the Grid X2 Pro. Really nice hardware, well thought out, interesting features, but it does feel like they're starting to lose traction a little bit in comparison to a lot of the other brands out there. For example, Garmin is innovating with adding microphones and leak-proof buttons and dive features and things like that. And, maybe you don't use them. I get that. It's not for everybody and they're very expensive, but they are trying to add stuff, right? Like they're not just iterating new designs and keeping the same features. And I feel like that's kind of what Polar's been doing for the past couple of years. Like the Grid X2 Pro is essentially the Polar Vantage V3. Like they're pretty much the same watch in a nutshell, but I do like them. I just feel like they need to change. Here's what I want to see. I'm off the rails right now. I would love to see Polar overhaul their user interface. I feel like that is where I feel the aging of their devices. The interface is okay. It's functional. And if you like it and you're used to it, maybe it's something you look forward to in the next device. But for me, I would like to see them just start on a blank canvas and just reinvent the whole user interface and make it a little bit more modern, make it feel a little bit more smartwatchy. And then on top of that, try to innovate a little bit in some of the hardware departments that I just mentioned. Now, as far as what's coming next from them, I don't know. I don't have any background knowledge of what they're planning to do. But I do hope it's something A, affordable, and B, with some innovation. Hopefully. We'll see. And will they survive? I think so. The thing about Polar is they've got a really faithful user group that really enjoys their hardware. So I feel like those people will continue to buy the next new thing every time it comes out. And Polar stuff does last a really long time, so that's a benefit as well. Like if you search around the Polar Facebook groups, you'll find people wearing Vantage V1s and even earlier devices than that came out years ago and they're still working. So that's a good thing for them as well. Will you review the Oura Ring 4? I believe I already have. Wait, the Oura Ring 4? Is there a new Oura Ring? If there is, I'm behind the ball on that one. I'll have to do some Googling. Hello, Chase. Does the Fenix 8 AMOLED have same or similar heart rate reading accuracy as the Apple Watch Ultra 2 for sleeping and running? So in my experience with the Gen 5 heart rate sensor on the Fenix 8, it's performed really well. I will say the Apple Watches, the Ultra 2s, the Series 10, I'm wearing a Series 10 on my other wrist here. Wow, that watch face on the camera, very bright. I will say the heart rate sensors on these are typically some of the best on the market in my testing. That's not me being an Apple fanboy. That's objectively, these do a really good job. I don't know what it is about their heart rate sensors or their algorithms. I would say they're both really good. Okay. The thing is about heart rate sensors, there's a lot of variables that makes that question really hard to answer. In my videos, I try to just give you my experience with a product. So if you see me showing graphs and comparisons, that's me. That's a sample of one. And I'm constantly reminded of this in the comments of my videos where people are like, well, Rob at the Quantified Scientist said that watch sucks. And maybe he did find it did. And I like Rob. He makes great content, but it's an ongoing theme in the comments that people criticize, the accuracy. And again, I'm only sharing my experience with a device. I can't share everybody's experience. Best case scenario, the thing to do would be to get a collection of 20 people and build a quorum, have everybody wear the same device, do a bunch of workouts, and then compare all the data from 20 different devices compared to a baseline device. I don't do that because it's a lot, and I'm a small YouTube channel. maybe there's a way to do that down the road, but to do that on every device. So what I do is I just share my experience, and then you take that for what it's worth, and hopefully you do some research and read some other reviews or watch other reviews from DC Rainmaker and Des and all the other people out there, Matt, and come up with a conclusion. With heart rate sensors specifically, there's so many variables: your heart rate, your body fat percentage, whether or not you have tattoos like I do, your hair color, your skin color, like all of that plays a role in it. So I will say this has performed well for me. The Fenix 8, the Apple Watches all do a really good job. I'd say you probably get pretty good results with either one. Is there going to be a Garmin Tactics 8 by Guts? Yeah, I suspect there will be. I don't know. I don't work for Garmin, but I would imagine we will see that. And I'm wondering if they're still going to keep a MIP option with that, because I don't know, like the last Tactics to come out was the Tactics 7 AMOLED, and there was no MIP version of that, even though there's like the Pro and Ballistic models that are MIP. It'll be interesting to see what they do there. But I would imagine it's going to be like what they've done before. They'll take a Fenix 8, they'll give it a cool looking bezel, they'll add some software features like ballistics, and that's probably going to be it. Would the Forerunner 965 survive ice climbing and mountaineering? Yeah, without a problem. One thing I would do though is put a screen protector on it, because it does have a Gorilla Glass display and it does scratch pretty easily. And it doesn't have a big protective bezel like a Fenix or a Epix or Instinct series watch. So I would just try to cover up that display. And with ice climbing, if you're doing pure ice, like water ice climbing and not anything mixed, you'll be fine there. I would be concerned with any watch if you're planning on doing any rock scrambling or like anything where you're making contact with your hands with rock, because then your watch will scratch no matter what watch it is. It's just going to be the way it is. So I would just be careful in that situation. A lot of times for me, I haven't ice climbed in a while, but a lot of times for me is I will take my watch off and throw it in my bag. Even if I want to track like the GPS track, I'll just keep it on the top of my pack and let it record the GPS track from there. So take that for what it's worth. What else we got here? Hello from Chamonix, France. I am jealous. That is a beautiful area. If you had to choose one watch over the others, which would it be? Today, probably the Fenix 8. It's kind of what I've been daily driving every day. That's just me. I mean, everyone's needs are different, so don't take that as like, this is the best thing ever. I also really like Apple Watches. The only thing that drives me crazy with them is charging them. I think that drives everyone crazy. You got to charge them every single day, and that kind of stinks. But they're great watches if you don't mind charging them. Hello, excellent reviews. They are very helpful in making purchasing decisions. Thanks for what you do. I spent more than $1,000 on a watch, but don't regret it. Wow. Good. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Thanks for chiming in. Oh, this is an interesting question. So it's kind of small. Let me blow that up for you. So I think there's a typo at the beginning here. Sounds like the Fenix 8 is greatly limited by the CPU being the same as the previous generation. Would seem like a new CPU is required to allow Garmin to greatly improve. Have you looked at the CPU tech? So the thing about Garmin is they don't really disclose anything about their CPUs or internal guts in their watches. However, I did have a conversation with some of their development team. I got to talk like one-on-one with the people who actually designed the watch, which is really cool. And I got a little bit of insight as to what's under the hood here. They did, from my understanding, I could be wrong. I'm not taking a quote from Garmin or anything like that. From my understanding, it's using the same CPU as last generation, the Epix, the Fenix 7, etc. But they do that for a reason. There is a reason why a Garmin Fenix 8 has, like if you get the big one, you can get nearly a month of battery life with the 51 millimeter model. And that's why the Apple Watch Ultra here has to be charged every 2 or 3 days. It's the CPU. The CPU is very efficient. It's not very powerful. And that allows the watch to run for a very long time, even with an AMOLED display. Now, if I'm being honest, the lagginess of this display or this interface does not bother me at all. Like, it's snappy. See, I'm doing this live. I don't really need it to be like Apple Watch fluid. It doesn't bother me at all. So, I feel like I'm not really missing out by having this older CPU tech, But that's just my opinion. I'm sure a lot of people vary on that. And if you do want something with a faster CPU, I would say check out an Apple Watch again, or a different watch altogether. That might be the solution. I do wonder, it is an interesting argument though, if they were to come out with a new model that's not a Fenix. I mean, Fenix is designed to be rugged outdoors. It's like the do-it-all adventure watch with great battery life. And that's why it has that slow CPU. But if they did come out with like an Apple Watch competitor, like straight up LTE on board with a fast CPU, with a bright display, and maybe it has 2 or 3 days of battery life, I wonder if that would sell well for them. I feel like it wouldn't. I feel like that would be something that wouldn't help their cause, but I could be wrong. All right, moving on. Hello, Dark Soldier. Thanks for joining. Another question. Would not be better to buy an Epix Pro 51mm instead of a Fenix 8, especially that Black Friday is coming? Asking from the point of utility, view, Enduro Tier 1 AMOLED. Okay, so yeah, if you don't care about the speaker and microphone on the Fenix 8, and you don't care about the dive features, the leak-proof buttons and all that, the Epix is still an awesome watch. In many ways, it's pretty much the same watch as like the new Fenix E here. Now, what you will miss out on, and what the only caution I would say is future updates. So Garmin has this strategy when they release software updates. It's kind of frustrating. They'll continue to support older devices like the Epix here, but they won't add features to it. So for example, even though this Fenix E here, which is like the newest generation, and this Epix Gen 2 here are pretty much the same watch at a hardware level, the Fenix E has newer software. And for the next couple of years, this watch will receive updates if they come out with a new feature, for example, like a new health metric to complement body battery. I don't know if that's happening or not, but that's just an example. If they did that, it'll come to the Fenix E, but I bet it will not come to the Epix Pro or Epix Gen 2. So that would be the only thing I would caution. However, the Epix series will continue to work indefinitely. Like I have a Fenix 1 from 2011, I think it came out. That was my first ever GPS watch. I went hiking with it. I love the thing. I still have it in a drawer over here. The battery still charges, and I can still pair it with Garmin Connect, go for a run, and it will upload to Strava and be on Garmin Connect and everything from a 10-year-old watch, which is wild. So the software, they won't like obsolete it to the point where you can't use it anymore, but it won't get new features. That's just traditionally how Garmin works. They've been getting better with that. Like they started adding new features to older devices, but I suspect in the situation of Fenix 8 and Epix is just going to be cut off from new features, and Fenix 8 will get the new stuff moving forward. That's my theory. I don't know that for sure. Hopefully I'm wrong, but time will tell. So I would say the Epix is still a great option if you don't mind not getting new stuff when it's released. You could save a lot of money though. Have you used the Fenix 7 for the new strength training plans they brought out? I haven't really invested too much time in that. I need to. That's actually an entire video topic that I want to cover, is trying out the new AI stuff they've got with the new strength training to like complement your main activity. So if you're like a trail runner, they'll have you do mobility exercises and strength to, work on your legs and stuff. Seems cool. Haven't really tried it. Oh, here we go. I wanted to talk about this. Thank you, Noise Tin. How buggy is your Fenix 8 after 1 month and all the updates? This is something I've been seeing a lot on Reddit in the comments. Like a lot of people have a concern about the Fenix 8 and its bugginess or user interface. In fact, there's some YouTubers out there making videos about theirs crashing. So I've been wearing this one for like 2 months, right? Yeah, for a while. I've been wearing this one since like the middle of August, so a month and a half. And I can tell you honestly, this watch has not crashed one time. It has not had any issues. I haven't had the maps crash. I haven't had any glitches in the user interface, nothing like that. I don't know why. I know it's a real thing. I've seen other people discussing it. I've also seen something to do with like cold water, like people doing cold plunges are finding their watches are freezing, literally like freezing up, which is kind of strange. But for me, I haven't had any issues. I'll do an update. Like I'm planning to do a longer term review since my first review was kind of rushed. I'm going to do like a long-term follow-up video. So if there are issues, it'll be in that video. But for me, no issues so far, including the Enduro 3 and the Fenix 8 and the Fenix E. I haven't had any issues. And I wear the Fenix 8 every day. So I feel like I would have seen a bug by now, but I haven't. Next up, we've got Jeff Runner. So your final decision on the Google Pixel Watch 3 for runners. Did you watch my review, bro? Just kidding. The Google Pixel Watch 3 is the best Google Pixel Watch yet. That's marketing material right there. But yeah, it's a good watch. I like it. I think the most interesting thing about the Pixel Watch 3 is actually the AI training tools. Like I was just talking about with the Garmin having the complementing, workouts and stuff. The target load and cardio load and how that correlates to its suggested workouts, it's super cool. So I would say that's probably, in my opinion, the standout feature. At 300, what is it? 450, 350 or 450 up to $500 with LTE. Now, if you're spending $500 on a watch, that's the hard pill for me to swallow with the Pixel Watch 3. The bigger version is $500 with LTE. And like the hardware, while it is made really nice, just doesn't feel like a $500 watch. And it also doesn't, it's got good battery life for what it is, but it's still a 2-day kind of situation when it comes to battery. So if you're looking for like an Apple Watch alternative, speaker, microphone, apps, integrated with Google, like all that stuff is awesome. If you're looking for that, yeah, go for it. If you're looking for more of a running dedicated watch, I feel like there are still better options out there. Like, if you're in that $500 range, the Garmin Forerunner 965 is like $500 right now. Doesn't have LTE, but again, if you're looking for a running watch, that shouldn't really matter. If you're looking for like a do-it-all smartwatch, that's when the conversation changes. But I think for running specifically, it's pretty good. Good heart rate sensor, like really good heart rate sensor. GPS is, it's okay. It's not amazing, but it passes. Hopefully that helps. Regarding the Amazfit T-Rex 3, is there a way to download pre-routed trails to the watch so I know where to go when I'm out on a trail? Yes, you can. It is a little bit quirky though. You do have to design the course in something like Strava or Gaia GPS or one of those other platforms where you like plot a route where you can actually create the course, download the GPX file, and then you got to do this funny thing on your phone where you download the GPX file to your phone, and then you actually have to share it, like the share icon to the Amazfit Zepp app, and then that will pull it into your route library. But once it's in there, it's actually pretty useful. You get turn-by-turn directions. In fact, if you have earbuds paired to the T-Rex 3, it'll actually out loud tell you when turns are coming up ahead of you, which is pretty cool. But only if you have earbuds paired to the watch. If they're paired to your phone, that doesn't work. So that's one limitation, but it does work. If you figure it out, it becomes pretty second nature. What is this the same question? Have you used strength training plan on the new Fenix 8? If so, is it any good? Well, seems like that is a topic of demand. I will have to work on a video for that. Brandon Talbot. That was fast. I don't know what that means, but maybe he's talking about the Garmin. I'm so behind. Sorry, guys. Brandon Talbot. Oh, I love your channel, dude. Thanks for stopping by. Seems like a typo in my message. Yes. Hi from Lithuania. Welcome. Thanks for joining. Garmin Fenix 8 Sapphire is 1,150 euros, or Garmin Epix Gen 2 Standard. This is the same conversation we just had about Epix versus Fenix 8. If you want to save some money, go for the Epix. If you want the new stuff for the next couple of years, go with the Fenix. We got Mohammed We got 47 millimeter or 51 Fenix 8. That's going to depend on your wrist size. I think I've mentioned this multiple times in my videos. I have 165 millimeter circumference wrists, so not very big wrists, and I wear the 47 millimeter. The 51 is a little bit big for me, in my opinion. It's not like totally crazy, but I prefer 47. This is going to boil down to your personal preference. I can't really make that decision for you. I would say if you live in an area that has Garmin's in store, like here we have Best Buy, you can actually go and see the device and hold it and put it on your wrist and see what it looks like. That's really useful if you're trying to make a decision, especially for a $1,000 watch. They also carry them at like Cabela's, REI, MEC, all those outdoor brands. Maybe try that. Matt LeGrand is in the house. Thanks for joining, Matt. Dang, this setup and blue backdrop light gradient looks dope. Thanks, buddy. I was texting Matt yesterday about my new studio setup and asking about lighting, so I'm glad you give me the thumbs up. If you haven't yet, check out Matt's channel. Ruben, we've got Chams or cycling. What Chams? Oh, he's talking about the chafe topic we just talked about. Yes, there's cami butter, right? That's another one. That's another anti-chafe stuff. That's mainly for cycling, but it's like the same thing. Michelle, is it true that barefoot shoes like Vibram finger shoes can resolve knee pain? Okay. Bro, or Michelle, not a bro. But I can't say for certain. I don't use those shoes. I feel like they were like super popular for a couple of years, those like finger toe shoes. And they kind of fell off after a while, but I still see them out there occasionally. I'm sure that's in their marketing material. I'm not an orthopedic surgeon or like a knee doctor or anything like that, so I can't really comment on that, but I will say if it makes your knee pain feel better, I would continue using them. For me, I've been wearing these bad boys. These are the Hoka Mach X2s. These are the new Hoka shoes. And I tell you what, I am a fan of this shoe. Not only the looks, proper dad shoe, I'm a big fan. The midsole on this is super squishy. The Pebax plate, loving these shoes right now. Should I do a review on these? Is this a review right now? I'm bad at shoe reviews because I don't know how shoe reviewers do it. I am so subjective. Like, if this shoe works for me, how do I know it's going to work for you? I don't get how like all those big shoe tubers pull it off, but they do a great job. So keep it up. So try the barefoot shoes. I just went off the rails on that one. Matt LeGrand, thanks for plugging my channel. Check is in the mail. Sponsored by Matt LeGrand, by the way. Just kidding. Not sponsored. Okay, what else we got here? I wish Garmin would come out with the Enduro 3, but 47 millimeters, even though that I know that's not possible. Yeah, it's not possible because the whole point of the Enduro line is to maximize battery life and runtime, right? And the way they did that was by making not only the case the larger 51 millimeter form factor, but because they made the case thicker. So it's not only bigger, it's thicker. And if they shrink it in any dimension, you're going to lose that crazy battery life. Like maybe it might be marginally better than the 47 millimeter, but I don't think it's going to be as impressive as it is right now. So maybe they will do that. I've also seen people ask for an AMOLED version of the Enduro. Again, I don't think that's possible. It would be cool, but I don't think it's possible. We got, hey, JM. I'm looking to switch from an old Apple Watch Series 5 to either the Suunto Race or the Garmin Venu 3 for longer battery life. Which one would you personally recommend? Okay. The Venu 3 is a good watch. Now, if you are, what was your primary use case? If you're a runner, the Venu 3 has a couple of frustrations to it. It doesn't give you all of the training metrics that you get on a Fenix or a Forerunner model. They like limit the stuff that goes to Venu 3. Instead, you get the microphone and the speaker, which is cool. And they also add in more health and wellness data. And it's a little bit prettier, and it's got the microphone, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. If you value that smartwatch stuff and wellness stuff, go Venu 3. Like if you think the body battery will be useful, the sleep coach and all those metrics. If you are primarily looking for a running, hiking, outdoor adventure type watch, I would go for the Suunto Raise because that has better battery life, a more rugged build, and it has full mapping and navigation, and it does give you all the training tools like training load and your estimated VO2 max and all that stuff. So they're both good, but it really depends on your use case. We got Shervin Shares in the house, my man. Oura Ring 4, disappointment or exciting? Honestly, I just talked about this. I didn't even know there's an Oura Ring 4. I'm so behind the game on that. I really thought I would have gotten an email from them about that, but no dice. Matt Legrand, Shervin Shares in the house. Question. Uh-oh. He missed it. Oh, there it is. Question. Any plans on new running gear, singlets, shirts in your merch store? Yes. Thank you for asking. I swear I didn't prompt Queba, I can't say the word, Vandekamp to say this, but I'll give my merch store a quick plug one more time. We are working currently on some cooler weather apparel. So not really singlets for now, because we're in the fall here in Massachusetts. But next summer, we will be expanding the collection to be singlets, tank tops, things like that. Right now, we're limited to t-shirts and a couple of running shirts. Really, the primary focus of the merch store is the hats. If you don't know, my hats are not like print-on-demand crap hats that you get from those YouTube merch stores. This is like legit. I sourced the materials. I had a company fabricate them. I bought them in bulk. I have hundreds in the room next to me, and I'm really proud of them. So that's really the focus right now. I'm also working on like winter beanies, different hoodies like what I'm wearing now. There will be more. And then next summer, like I said, we'll be expanding into the singlets and stuff like that. Thanks for asking, though. Shervin Shares, super chat. Thanks, buddy. You did not have to super chat, but I appreciate it. How much for a shout out? On all platforms. Sponsored by Shervin Shares. Just kidding. Joshua B. What would you be doing if you didn't start YouTube? So prior to YouTube, my career was in mechanical engineering. I was my actual title was a principal mechanical designer, and I worked at a robotics company. I won't say the name, but the robotics company primarily handled warehouse automation. So this is like picking up a case of cereal, bringing it to a shelf and putting it down. These robots would drive around at like 30 miles per hour and pick things up, put them down, build pallets, wrap them in saran wrap and ship them off to stores. And it was honestly really rewarding, really exciting stuff. I traveled around the country. I went to different like warehouses to see all the robots in action. And it was really cool. And it is kind of crazy that I actually quit that job to do this as a job. Some days I have a little bit of regret. Like, this is the best job on earth. I promise. Like, I'm not going to complain about it. I get to be my own boss. I get to talk to you guys on live streams. It's awesome. But like having a traditional 9-to-5 job means you work 9 to 5 and then you go home and you see your family and you go to bed, right? For me, it's like, I feel like I'm working all day. I'm always answering emails. I'm like up at night. Some days when there's like a product launch, I'll be editing till 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm responding to emails. I'm doing my own payroll and all the garbage that goes on for like running a business. And it was just nice to like have that 9-to-5 job, go to work and get a check every week. Now it's a lot different. But again, I will not complain, and I do not regret my decision to do this for a living because it's fun. Any thoughts on a cellular Garmin watch? More along the lines to make calls, text, stream music like an Apple Watch, not how the 945 LTE Forerunner did it. Love your channel and content. Thank you. Really appreciate that. Yes. So this is an interesting topic. Garmin, if you're unaware, they came out with a watch a couple of years ago called the Garmin Bounce, which my kids still use. It's actually a watch designed for children and not for adults. It's got like little games and stuff like that. And it's designed to have your kid text message you or send a voice memo or emoji when they're at school or out on a field trip or something like that. And it has GPS so you can find out where they are in the world. And it's cellular, has LTE built in. Currently, that is the most full-featured LTE watch from Garmin, but it's for kids. And I thought, like, the day that launched and came out, my immediate thought was, this has to mean that they're going to roll this out into the bigger watches, into the grown-up watches. And that just never happened. So my theory is, like, I feel like the next Fenix, like if they do a Pro model, you know how there was like a Fenix 7, then the Pro, and then the Epix, and then the Epix Pro. If they do a Fenix 8 Pro, what else could they add? It's already got the speaker and mic. It's got the leak-proof buttons. If they throw an LTE module in there, that could be the one to change the game. Time will tell. Eric Robert, what do you think about the Garmin Fenix or Garmin Instinct 2X? I love it. I had a really good experience with it. Again, it's going to boil down to your preferences. If you want a simple watch with limited mapping capabilities, go for the Instinct. Monochrome display. It's like more like if you're a G-Shock fan, but you want more, because G-Shocks honestly don't offer a whole lot in terms of like health and wellness, and even activity tracking is pretty limited. If you like the G-Shock idea, but you want like all the Garmin features, get an Instinct. If you want more of a smartwatch, I'd shy away from it because it's not really in the smartwatch realm. It's very much in that sport watch, outdoor adventure watch realm. Next up, do you have any tips for cleaning out the holes in your silicone watch band? Can't seem to get it out of my Pace 3. You probably have the Pace 3 with the like little pinholes in it, and that is it is a pain. My only suggestion would be to soak the band, like take it off, put in maybe alcohol, try alcohol. Don't soak the watch in alcohol, just the band. Maybe a Q-tip, something like that. Yeah. In your opinion, what is the best wearable for app or strength training? Best wearable / app for strength training. That's a good one. Honestly, I was kind of blown away by the Pixel Watch 3's strength training, like how it all ties together. They basically take your readiness score, your training load, your cardio load, your target load. That's all automatically generated. And then based on all that information, including how you slept the night before, your HRV, it'll generate workouts, and they all felt really suitable for how I felt those days. I'd say out of all the wearables, that might be one of the better experiences. But I honestly don't download a whole lot of apps for like work strength training, so I can't really comment on that. Any advice for making fitness training and reviewing tech, etc. your career? What did you do before all of this? I think I just answered that question. I was a mechanical engineer. I started this YouTube channel for fun. Originally, if you go way back, don't do it. The videos are very uncomfortable and cringy. If you go way back, you'll find that some of the first videos I uploaded here were all about my training for an upcoming race. I was training for the Vermont 100 endurance race back in 2018 or 2019. Those videos didn't perform well at all. And a couple of months later, I posted a Garmin Fenix 6 video. Oh, I think it was the 6, and a Forerunner 945 video. Those were a couple of my first watch reviews on this channel, and those blew up. So I was like, whoa, I had fun making the videos. I loved the tech. I just kind of leaned into what was working. So I guess that would be my suggestion. What are you passionate about? What's something that you could talk about every day without getting sick of it and stay excited about, and then lean into that and make content? You know, if YouTube's great because you don't have to pay. Like anybody with a phone and a camera can make a YouTube video. You don't need all this lighting and fancy cameras I have. You can do it with your phone, and if it's good content, people will watch. Hopefully that helps. Good luck. Also, subscribe to him. Matthew Joseph, if he's doing reviews, go subscribe to him. Help the guy out. What else we got here? I got the Fenix 8 and the Enduro 3. The Enduro 3 is so much better. If you had to choose one, which would you choose? I mean, subjective, right? If you like the MIP display, go for the Enduro 3. If you like the AMOLED, go for the Fenix 8. For me, I like AMOLED. So I'm a huge fan of the Enduro 3, don't get me wrong, but I do like AMOLED. What about the optical heart rate sensor on the Fenix 8? Lots of Fenix 8 questions. Still unusable also in this version. I never found them to be unusable. I think the last time I got like questionable heart rate data from a Fenix was the Fenix 6, and that heart rate sensor is 2 generations old now. This new one, the Gen 5 on these, is really good. I've had pretty good results with it. Again, goes back to the conversation about variables, body fat percentage, hair color, skin color. Like that's all going to play a role here. All I can tell you is my experience has been pretty decent. Okay. Oh, he's clarifying. So a little while back, I talked about the CPU in, there was a question about the CPU in the Garmin Fenix 8. And he's saying, my question was less about the current lag and how it performs, more about new features that need more CPU and memory. That's a good point. Yeah. So if they came out with something new and exciting and a new metric or a new app experience on the watch that needed more horsepower, you're right. They are limited by what the current CPU can do. There's no changing that. The only way, so what I suspect might happen in that situation is if you look back at history with Garmin, when they roll out like new stuff, new hardware, new features, new CPUs even, it will come to the Forerunner line first. So the next Forerunner 975 or whatever might have like new app experience, new features that might require more horsepower. And in that case, they might add it to the 965. And then the next generation of the Fenix, whatever the Pro model, might get that as well. But I don't know. I mean, all we can do is speculate. Doritos or Fritos? Jeff LeBlanc. Oh, that's a question for the ages, man. I would have to go Doritos. Cool Ranch Doritos, blue bag. Yeah. Will the Fenix 8 workouts be shared with other watches? Yeah, that rolled back to the Fenix 7 as well. You should have got a firmware update already. It should be in your Garmin Connect app. Scott Struhl, what's up? What's up with you, man? Thanks for joining. Just jumping on, do you have some good advice for building downhill running strength? Just ran UTMB Whistler and it was brutal on the front of my knees. No. And if you have any tips on that, please share them. I am a notoriously bad downhill runner. In fact, I've got knee surgery on one of my knees that barks like the Dickens when I run downhill. Hey, midday Q&A. Yeah. Oops. I just shrunk and moved around that comment. Yeah. It's a weird time for a Q&A. I agree. But it seems like, what do we got? 85 people watching? Thanks for joining. This is a good one. Joe Salazar, you should host a group run in Massachusetts. I want to, Joe. Or Jose. I called you Joe. Sorry. Jose Salazar. This is something, if you look at my community page on YouTube, like the community posts, you'll find on there a group run questionnaire, kind of like who would be interested if I did that. I've been trying to think of like a location, a way to register for it, because I don't want to just like set a date and time and show up there and have no one show up. Like, I don't know who would actually show up. If you show up, let me know. And I'll try to make it happen. I really want to do that because it's like, just like these live streams are fun. It would be super cool to like interact in person with people that are local. So if you are a Massachusetts native and you live nearby or even a surrounding state, you know, Connecticut, New York, New Hampshire, and you're willing to drive a little bit, throw some suggestions on locations at me and I'll try to put something together. Do you think there'll be a new Garmin crossover soon? Crossover, you mean like a Venu? Probably. Again, the update cycle is like a year and a half, although it seems to be getting quicker. So time will tell. That's a good one. What is the most number of watches you've ever ran with? That's a good one. A lot. In fact, too many. I had an issue where I had some on my wrists and I actually tried one on my ankle. Not recommended. Your ankle's not a good spot for heart rate sensors. So I think the answer to that is 6 in one shot, but not recommended because I got bad heart rate data from 4 of them. So now I typically run with 2. I'll do Like right now I have the Apple Watch Series 10 and the Garmin Fenix 8. I'll go for a run like this, and then I'll do another watch. I typically wear it across my fist like this, and I tighten it down on my fist so it has a good signal, GPS signal. But on top of that, I also pair a chest heart rate strap, like an ECG sensor, to the third watch. So I've got the baseline comparison. Do you know if the Enduro 3 will have the same watch faces as the Fenix 8? It does not. So the Fenix 8 has, like, here, you can look at it. Oop. Just got an email that popped up. So the Fenix 8 has these really colorful watch faces, and it does that. They did that for a reason, because the AMOLED display has millions of colors to work with. The Enduro 3 only has 64 colors, so they can't, like, the same watch faces just won't work on that type of display, so they don't share the same display. The Enduro 3 has its own, like, Enduro 3 watch faces, and I actually think they look really cool. And of course, you can download third-party watch faces as well from Connect IQ if you want to get more. And thank you. You're welcome. Speaker on the Garmin Fenix 8, very bad. What do you think? Yeah, it's not loud. That was my first, if you watch my review video, like I mentioned, it's just not very loud. It gets the job done if you're in a quietish situation. If you're in a loud area like a restaurant or on a bus or something like that, you hold it up to your ear to hear it, which isn't great. I think that's the case due to the waterproofing. So going back to the Amazfit T-Rex 3 here, this has also a dive certification and a microphone, but it lacks a speaker. No speaker on this watch, because I think, this is my theory here, they weren't able to make it water resistant enough to be dive certified. So I feel like whatever Garmin did to get the speaker and microphone on this, they probably had to make a sacrifice in terms of loudness for dive certification. That being said, the speaker and microphone on the Apple Watch Ultra is amazing, like really good. And this also has a dive certification. So whatever Apple did, I feel like Garmin should try to mimic, but they didn't do that. Don't feel too bad. I didn't get an email from Aura either. Oh, good. From your 100-mile Ultra, using the Forerunner 965, do you turn on any other battery eating features? 45% battery seems some features were left on the table, could be used. I have a whole video about this, like what features I used and didn't. The main thing is I turned the brightness down to its lowest setting, and I left it in GPS only mode. And that is the way you maximize your battery life. That'll get you the most juice for a big event like that. Another thing I was doing though, is I was using navigation, and navigation cripples your battery. So I was actually pretty surprised by my results as well. But other than that, everything was on. I had heart rate, I had GPS only. Always on display was turned off, obviously, but other than that, it was all running. Okay, Matthew Paulden, hello from the UK. Anyone else from the UK? Chime down below or off to the side, right? Is it over there, the live chat, or down below? Depends if you're on a phone. Yeah, man, from the UK. Lots of UKs. Matthew Paulden, hi. I'm just reading exactly comments here. Oh, man, we got Tom Buck here. Tom Buck is the main reason why. Let me show you. He's still here. There it is, Tom. So this is my new Rodecaster Pro. This is a Rodecaster Video, rather. This is how I switch my cameras around for the live stream. It also does my video, and it's awesome. I'm a big fan. It's actually why I'm doing the stream, to test it all out. Make sure it's working. So thanks for all of the content, Tom. It was very helpful. Lots of YouTubers in here. Go follow him too. Hello from Malaysia. Thanks for joining, man. I was wondering if you still have an upcoming trail run before the end of the year. Yes, I do. So I do a race every year. I sign up for the same race. In fact, the race director, or the old race director, was actually in the chat a little while ago, called the Trail Animals Running Club Winter Classic. It's a 50K, it's 32 miles, takes place 20 minutes from my house on a really fun trail. So I try to sign up for that every single year just to like hold myself accountable to run 32 miles right before the winter. I was on the fence about running a race actually tomorrow. It starts tomorrow, called the Mid-State Massive. That's 30 mile, 50 mile, or 100 miles. I ran that a couple of times, a couple of years ago. Big fan of the race. Unfortunately, like scheduling and stuff didn't work out this year. Also, my fitness doesn't really feel there right now, so I'm not doing that. But I will be doing that 50K, and I do have some like personal big adventures planned that I will be attacking as well. Ba-ba-ba. Oh man, yeah. Do you have a road marathon PR? Good question. Not really. So fun fact, I've run a lot of ultras. Like if you look at my main YouTube setup, oh, my camera over there. See it? Let's zoom in. No, it's way over there. All those bibs are from races. I've run a lot of ultra marathons, but I have never run a road marathon, like a sanctioned road marathon. I've run a marathon on the road in my own time, like running 26.2 by myself, but I've never gone and run at a race for a road marathon. And I want to do that. My wife actually has one coming up. She's running a race in October this month, in a couple of weeks. And I was like, should I just jump in on this and try? But then we need to find childcare and babysitters, and it's a lot. Like every little thing, there's a lot that goes into it. I think, honestly though, my fastest marathon, I think was like just shy of 4 hours. I think I was like 3:55 or something like that. I'm not a fast runner, especially on the road. That's why I run ultras, because I can go far, just not very fast. Oh, Jeff correcting me. Mid-state is next weekend, not this weekend. So maybe I should jump in. I have an extra week of training to run 100. Has anyone heard about the Whoop 5.0? It's been years since they updated it. Yeah, interesting. I was actually questioning that myself the other day. It's been a long time since they've updated, but they don't update often. They only do like every other year, I think, but it should be right around the corner. I don't know what else they could improve. Honestly, I made a video a couple of months ago about the Whoop 4.0. They did a firmware update on it that made the heart rate accuracy way better. Like my testing on the Whoop 4 was never good. It always was pretty lackluster, to be honest. Like in terms of raw heart rate data, they did a firmware update on it and it got like 10 times better. I don't know how they did that, but they kind of solved that problem. And honestly, like, do they need a new device? All of their features are software driven. So as long as they keep pushing new software updates, I feel like they don't necessarily need a new device. Unless they can like get better battery life or maybe put a tiny display on it or something to tell the time of day, but I don't know if they'll do that. Chad Garrett. The Fenix 8 has so many bugs. Why were these not addressed in your reviews? I have a 47mm Fenix 8. I have a list of about 25 and counting. I already talked about this in the stream. I have not had a single crash or bug on my Fenix 8 in the nearly 2 months of use I've got with it. Maybe I'm doing it wrong. Like maybe your use case is different than mine. I feel like I use my watch pretty heavily. I use mapping and navigation, and I run pretty much every day. I'm out in the trails. I'm using all the features. No issues. And I believe you that you've got bugs, but I don't. So that's all I can say about it. Again, I think if you've got a specific use case, including diving, I've seen some people on Reddit having issues with cold water diving. Maybe that's like the trigger. Maybe I should do some testing with that, with like an ice bath or something. Good idea. But yeah, in my testing so far, nothing. Right alongside, maybe the inaugural group run for the Chase Summit followers could be a park run somewhere in Massachusetts. Yeah, I had a thought. If you are local to Massachusetts, I live near the Middlesex Fells Reservation, and it's one of my favorite places to go run. That would be probably the destination I want to try if people are up for it. But it's in Stoneham, Massachusetts, and if you're not from around here, you don't know what any of that means. Come run a marathon in Valencia. I wish. My travel this year is pretty booked up. Amazfit T-Rex 3 or Apple Ultra for marathon distance. Both will do the job. Both will last through a marathon easily. You'll get like in full accuracy mode on the Apple Watch Ultra. You'll get like 10 to 12 hours, maybe 13 hours max. Drop into the battery saver modes or turn down the brightness, always on display. You can milk out a little bit more. Of course, the T-Rex 3 is going to give you way more battery life. But again, if you're running a marathon, even at a slow pace, it's going to be like 6 hours, like for the back of the pack. Either one can do the job. All right. That's, we've reached the end of our comments list, and we've been on the air for over an hour now, so I'm probably going to wrap it up. Before I jump off the air, though, oh, wait, we got one more. I want to comment on this. Nicholas Hillman, favorite food during an ultra? Bacon. Oh, wait, I'll give you two answers. These are just from my experiences, by the way. There was one ultra that had avocado sushi that went down so good. The avocado sushi at mile 50, I forget what race it was amazing. Highly recommended. I don't know why. It was amazing. The second best is bacon and avocado in a tortilla wrap. Also, forget the race it was at. Amazing. Highly recommended. Man, there's all these good questions now. I was just going to jump off the air, but we'll keep going for a little bit longer, okay? This one. Any thoughts on the Camille Herron Wikipedia drama? Oh, man, that's a loaded one. Have you been following this, people out there? If you're not in the ultra community, there's a pro athlete named Camille Herron, a famous pro ultra runner, women's ultra runner. And she is amazing. She's got all these world records. And yeah, she's well known, right? So it turns out there's been like this scandal going on in the background where she's been editing other athletes' Wikipedia pages, specifically like competing athletes that are women in the sport, like knocking them down and taking like cutting out tidbits of information from their Wikipedia profiles, making them look less impressive, and then bolstering hers by adding stuff to hers. And it turns out it like got traced back to her IP address, and her husband was involved with it. And now she's deleted all of her social media accounts. They're all gone. Like she deleted Instagram, and it turns out she was sponsored by Lululemon. That was her main sponsor. Lululemon just dropped her sponsorship. So like her whole career just got flipped on its head over like a dumb thing. I think if it's true, like these are all alleged things. I don't know all the depths of it. If it's true, it is like the most immature, petty, dumb thing to do as a pro athlete, because like, I mean, look at her now. Like it blew up in their face. I cannot believe it. Like I met her at Western States back in 22. She was super nice, very personable. Like we had a chat, super nice human being. It's kind of shocking. And I hope it's not true. Hopefully it comes out and it's fake, or like she got framed or something, but man, that's it. Pretty wild. Any word on Amazfit's next model? Nope. The T-Rex 3 just came out like a couple weeks ago, right? Yeah. I had it early, so I kind of forget the release date. And I haven't heard anything else from them. But if I knew something, I wouldn't be able to tell you anyways. Embargoes, man. Accuracy for HRV sleep on the T-Rex 3. I've already talked about it. HRV actually looks okay compared to other devices, but like the sleep score, the readiness score, they're all really generous and not super helpful in my opinion. Hopefully they can work on that. Camille just needs to be ignored at this point. All she wants is everyone to talk about her. I don't know. In this case, we're not talking favorably about her, unfortunately. Oh, no excuse, Jen, my wife. What's that bump on your head? Did something happen? I already talked about it, Jen, at the beginning of this episode, where I talked about, did everyone hear it? I got punched in the face by a Halloween animatronic last night. I should have queued up the video because I have a Ring doorbell, and it actually caught the moment of impact when I got hit in the face. I was actually trying to prove, I was out there setting up this giant animatronic, and it lunges forward, and I was trying to make sure, because it jumps at you, that it was like safe for kids. And I just stood there like this, blocking my head, hoping to like brace for impact. And it went right between my arms and hit me square in the face, right in the forehead. It was bleeding and everything last night. So here I am on a live stream with a bump on my head. Have you ever thought about running a triathlon? No, and mainly because I am a horrible, horrible swimmer. I'm not a big fan of the water. I'm a land-based creature. I like cycling and I like running. Swimming is not my strong suit. So maybe a duathlon, is that what it's called? Where you just do two sports, swimming and bike, or running and cycling. That'd be interesting. I might try that. No plans though. Okay, that's the end. We're going to wrap it up now. Before I leave, go check out the merch store, chasethesummit.com. Pick up a hat, help support the channel. If you don't want to buy something there, check out the Patreon, link in the description down below. Become a channel member. All those things help out. I really appreciate it. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well. Also, if you do have, if you do have additional questions that I didn't cover in this podcast, live stream, whatever it is, comment them down below. I'll leave this up on the channel as just another video. And if you have some more questions or you just want to talk, comment down below and I'll try to get those as well. All right, friends, I hope you enjoyed this one. That is the end, and I'll see you next time. Okay, bye. Subscribe, like, share, do all the things that down below. Bye.